what is now the second officer-involved shooting in 2 days. We had tonight an officer who's in the area because this is the area that they're deployed in. The officer was on this street near 1900 block where we had a citizen come out of the house yelling for help, and it attracts the attention of the officer. That citizen tells the officer that there's a member inside the house armed with a knife threatening to stab other family members. The officer courageously identifies the immediacy and the threat that poses to the family members inside the house, exits the police car, makes the notifications wisely, encounters an armed suspect with a knife who refuses to obey commands, resulting in the discharge of the officer's weapon, one round striking the individual in the upper chest. He was provided with immediate medical attention, was taken to a local hospital where we have found out recently that he succumbed to his injuries. I could tell you that no one was stabbed, fortunately, as a result of this individual's actions. He was armed with a very large, what I would describe, butcher knife. And I think it's safe to say that through the officer's quick actions and the fact that the officer was deployed here, luckily nearby, and was able to quickly respond, this scene could have been a lot different. The officer was not injured, nor were any other citizens in the home injured. I'll take any questions you may have.
With the increase in patrol strength, are officers paired up now? Is this officer by himself?
This officer was by himself. Throughout the city, we have officers that are paired up or are by themselves. We do have what we believe is an increased number of officers patrolling the city as a result of the new patrol schedule that went out January 11th. But I think this is indicative of a couple of things. One is the officer being at the right place, the officer courageously confronting an individual who was armed, and unfortunately, individuals who, in spite of an officer being in full uniform and giving very clear and precise directions, they're refusing to follow those directions in what could be a very deadly situation.
How long has the officer been on the force?
The officer is a very young officer, approximately 2 years on. This is a traumatic incident for anyone, but I could tell you that for anyone who has just been on the job for about 2 years, this shakes you up.
And just to clarify again, the officer was not responding to service call, but was just on routine patrol?
That's correct. The officer was flagged down, I like to call it, from the citizens who were terrified, pleading for help from the officer. In fact, the officer got on the radio, and the citizens were pleading that he had to help them immediately.
What can you tell us about your investigation? Where does it go from here? Is the officer going to be on any sort of leave after this?
We do a very thorough investigation. We have developed a force investigation team modeled after national best practices. We will do a thorough investigation where we canvass, we interview everyone that was there, we interview all the precipient witnesses in addition to the involved officer. We do a very detailed analysis of the crime scene, and we look to put the pieces together, not just with the information that is given to us, but also from the physical scene and what we find as evidence at the location. We've also made contact with the state's attorney's office, who is responding, and we will provide them with all of our evidence.
Will the officer still be on patrol, on duty during this time?
The officer, any officer that goes into a situation like this, there's certain things that we put them on. I think it's safe to say that the officer will be on administrative assignments until further.
How long was the dispute, the exchange, from the time the officer approached the suspect to the time of
I don't know that, but I could tell you that from what I saw inside the house, it looked like there was the house was in disarray. It looked like it had been going on for a little while. I can't tell you how long.
Was this and you may have said this, I apologize if you did, was it a family member? Were they related? Are they in a relationship?
They are related, and the information we have is that they were celebrating a 3-year-old's birthday, and they were gathered together, as most families do, to celebrate that when the individual became irate. We still don't know too much about the individual or what caused this to happen. That's part of what the investigation will determine.
Thank you. Any early indication as to whether drugs or alcohol played a role in this victim's
None
state of mind?
whatsoever. We will be looking at all of that. We will be looking at the individual's history. We will be looking at what may have contributed this. But what we know today is that an officer in full uniform approached this individual armed with a large butcher knife and gave orders, very specific orders, and that individual did not comply.
Last question.
Suspect's age?
Don't have that yet. I do believe he's in his mid-20s.
Will this change the patrol in this area?
We will patrol anywhere in the city that we believe will increase the safety of the neighborhoods.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy.
Thank you.
Thank you.